Welcome to the Illini Drive here on WPGU 107.1, and happy Monday. We're excited to be back for another show, an hour of Illini sports talk. We got that little gimmick, whatever that was, it just went off. Did you hear them? I guess, that's just you, Elliot, making noise in the background. Awesome.
It's my microphone. It's a bit creaky.
Yeah, right. I'm your host, Jamal Collier. Thank you for joining us on this day. I'm joined by a full house here. If you're watching on UPTV, we thank the good people there for putting us on television and making us look better than we do. Watch us on UPTV. That's every Wednesday at 9. We've got a lot of people around the studio.
It's like a corporate elevator.
Yeah. Is that what it's like?
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever been on one. But.
No, I've never been on one in the corporate world, but next time I'll make sure to check those out. We got Elliot. You can hear him. You got Torrance. You got Joey, me, and we're joined by the guys of the Illinois baseball team, Ryan. And I meant to ask you about this. It's Castellanos. Or did I say that right?
Yes, sir. Castellanos.
Castellanos. We've been saying Castellanos. Like something that's crap. You gotta fix that. You say it's Castellanos. Okay.
It doesn't really bother me. I've heard both.
Okay,
so.
You've heard both, and you kind of just adapt to whatever. All right. This is Ryan Castellanos. He's a pitcher for the Illinois baseball team, a starter. Adam Walton and Will Krug, a couple hitters, the 1-2 hitters, not in that order, but of the lineup here. They're joining us because the team's doing well. We want to hear from them. They got some things coming up this week to talk about. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter. That's at Illini Drive. It's ILLINIDRIVE. Check us on all the social medias. We got them all. We have all of them. We have most of them. You can check us on UPTV. You can hear us here. There's a lot of places to get all your Illini sports talk and professional things from us. Professional sports talk from us as well. So without further ado, we got the guys from the baseball team here, and they came in from a luxurious flight at Penn State. Tell me about that, getting back from Penn State. There's no direct route to get really from Happy Valley to anywhere, it feels like. How was that flight, trying to get back?
It was interesting. We went from Happy Valley to Philadelphia, and we had our own flight. You know, it was the 35 guys on the team that traveled with all the coaches, and then
a lot of space on that flight?
No. It was a small little propeller plane.
I don't think it was chartered. I just think it was full.
It was a completely packed flight. Every seat was taken, I believe, and it was the entire baseball team. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, nice. And then you got out of there from Happy Valley to
Philadelphia. Yeah, and then we had a little 45 minutes to an hour layover in Philadelphia, and flew into Indianapolis and took a bus from there back to Champaign.
Yeah, and got in at how late?
2 in the morning.
2-ish. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then rallied here to come on the Illini Drive and talk to us. How about that? That's some spirit. So, guys, obviously coming off a sweep this weekend. Not obvious, but they're coming off a sweep this weekend against Penn State. Second straight road sweep for you all. You guys are playing well. What's been the key so far to the success of 9-3 Big Ten start?
I think it's more on consistency, because sometimes in the beginning of the season we would have a good pitching performance, and then we'd kind of get shut out offensively. And then when we gave up some runs, our offense wouldn't really come through. But now we're clicking on all cylinders. So, it's really working for us, and now we're starting to win some games.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Just kind of cleaning things up in general. I mean, like Ryan said, the first weekend, the hitters were doing great. The pitchers couldn't find it. Second weekend, hitters couldn't find it. Pitchers were doing great. So I think just cleaning things up and playing together and playing to our strengths the last few weeks has really helped us in Big Ten play.
Yeah. Last time I was interviewed, I told them that I was trying to say that we played in sync, and I think I made up a word.
Synchrony.
We were playing in synchronicity, so I think that's what we were doing now.
That's all right. Well, I make up words here all the time. I'm probably going to make 2 up today, so it's allowed. You guys talked about the pitching a little bit, that it was supposed to be the strong point as you guys came in, and Ryan, then obviously your number one starter, or the guy coming into the Friday starter, Kevin Duchesne, goes down right away. What was that like when you found out, okay, Duchesne's not going to just be out for a little bit, he's going to miss some extended time? What was the reaction of your pitchers?
Well, we felt okay because we have a lot of experience on the staff. It's still a young staff, but, we don't have, I think we have one senior, and that's Ronnie Muck. But we have a lot of games, a lot of innings between us. We have regional experience. So, we felt good and we felt confident. And, of course, we want Kevin back as soon as possible, but, we feel confident with the guys that we have out there.
And you guys have stepped up and not really missed a beat. What can you kind of attend that to that you guys just, like I said, haven't missed them at all?
Coaching, mindset. We believe in each other. Whether or not we have our ace out there. Last year we went through the same thing. Kevin Johnson went down, toward later in the season. And we have guys that step up. And same thing happened this year. And, when Kevin gets back, I can't wait to see what we can do out in the field.
Yeah. Duchesne, is he still out for some time here? Do you have any idea on that?
I don't think he's pitching this weekend. That's all I know.
Yeah.
The coaches know that. But, when he gets out there, we'll be excited for him.
Yeah. For you guys, obviously you see this pitching staff up close a lot. How good are they? What kind of challenges do they really face?
They're, the best pitching staff I've seen this year, facing other teams, and it's fun playing defense behind them. They throw strikes. They don't try to do too much. They're great. That's pretty much all I can say. They're fun to play behind. They get the job done, and we know every time they go out there that it's going to be a good performance for them. So we just try to, play defense, score a few runs, and we know if we can score 3 to 4 runs a game, I think we're pretty confident that the pitchers will hold them to less than that, and we'll get a win.
Yeah, I was just standing actually in on Cody Sedlock today when we were over at the field, and I don't think it'd be too fun to go up against guys like that consistently. You get past one of our pitchers, and it's like there's another one right there. So
yeah, and for the people who don't know Cody, how hard does he throw?
Yeah, he tries to throw hard too, so it's coming in quick, probably like 92, 93.
Yeah. Obviously then the pitching was supposed to be the strength coming in, and the question mark was kind of maybe the offense and how everything in the lineup kind of settled. How has this lineup kind of come together? I think you guys have kind of found kind of a regular groove now?
I think we're still. I think you're still finding along as long as the season goes on, all the way up until the end. But we've definitely found a spot that's been working, and we'll keep going with it. But we're just following what our coaches tell us, and what we believe in, and the Illini game plan really, and going with that.
I think one thing that's been really helping us is just not trying to do too much and trying to stay within ourselves. We're not a very big, powerful ball club, so we're not going to hit many home runs. We may have.
Now, see, the people on the radio didn't know you weren't a big, swole guy sitting here, so you can't kind of let them know.
Don't tell Pat that.
You sure?
Yeah, right.
You sure?
we may only have 10 home runs on the year, so the Illini style the last 10, 20 years, whatever it's been, it's play steal bases, play small ball, move runners over. So I think just trying to stick with that and just play the way we can and not try to do too much has really helped us get into a groove lately.
Yeah.
Adam, you've moved up to the number 2 hole this weekend. You did. What kind of is different in your mindset in that role? What is the challenges of it?
Nothing really different in the mindset. You're definitely put in more situations that you have to move runners and hit behind runners and bunt to get guys over. Cause, Will in the leadoff spot, he's on base the majority of the time I'm up there. So, I know he's going to steal and, get to second. And so, just trying to hit behind runners and, move him over, do what I can to help the team win in that position is really all you can do there. I don't think it's much different from the 9 spot besides just seeing less fastballs, more off-speed early in counts. But, Will's always on base. So the main thing is just getting him over to second and third and putting him in a position for the big guys behind me to drive him in.
Yeah. And we'll go into that. You're on base. I think you're 4th in the Big Ten right now in steals. But you get on base.
Yep.
They see the numbers, obviously. They know you're going. Mm-hmm. Then you go and you get there.
Yeah.
I couldn't wrap my mind around that, is that everybody knows you're going.
Yeah.
They can plan for you to go, and they can't do anything about it still.
Oh.
Well, they can do something about it, but.
Right. They get me sometimes, unfortunately, but I don't know. I just get there and I'm kind of happy I'm there. I feel safe again.
Yeah. You guys play again this week at Illinois Field tomorrow, and then you got the Busch Stadium game is Wednesday. That game got rescheduled from earlier this month. Have you played in the Busch Stadium game before?
Yep.
And I don't think you guys have not.
I ended up pitching that game.
Okay. Yeah. How excited are you to go back there, and just how fun is that day, that game?
Well, I'm not going to be throwing this time around, but it's always exciting to go out there. I'm actually throwing my bullpen on Wednesday, so I get to look forward to that, throwing a major league bullpen But looking around, seeing all the the seats and just how nice the field is, it's kind of like motivation. It's always one of our dreams to play there. One day in a big league ballpark. So a little extra fire while you're playing out there in the field. And it's a rivalry game. We got Mizzou, and we really want to win that game. We want to get on a roll going into the weekend. So it's a big game, and it's a lot of fun to play in it.
For you kind of mentioned the goal of getting to the majors, and you've got your brother. I'm hoping, I always imagine that all our listeners are huge baseball fans like me, so they hear the name Castellanos. They're like, oh, that's the Nick Castellanos from Detroit, the guy who's a rookie this year. How often do you talk to your brother?
I usually talk to him every day, if at least 6 days a week, usually by text or by phone. We're both really busy. He's got games pretty much every day, and I got, my practices and games on the weekends as well. But, we try to catch up. We were really close growing up. We grew up playing the game of baseball, so, we talk whenever we can.
Yeah, and he's enjoying and kind of going in seamlessly to the Tigers so far?
It's an adjustment, but I think the biggest adjustment for him, I can't really speak for him, but what I hear from it is just adjusting to the pro lifestyle and in general, because the minor leagues is pretty much a grind. It's you don't really get pampered as much as you do in the big leagues. You got long bus rides, you got long days, for pretty much no money if you didn't really get a signing bonus. So it's still an adjustment for him, but I can't imagine in any scenario how he's not just having like the blast of his life. He's living any person's dream, I think.
I want you to do me a favor, and I want you to tell him to go to Miguel Cabrera, who is the type you got to know Miguel
fantasy
Cabrera
baseball,
is.
huh? Here it comes.
And here it is. Miguel Cabrera is on my fantasy team, and he is not off to the best start. He's the best player in the game, and he's gonna get the numbers at the end of the year. But right now, he's not doing so well. So by virtue, my team is doing very not well. So tell Nick, hey, go to Miguel and say, hey, for Jamal, let's get a home run or two. He's playing the White Sox, for God's sake, so he can get a couple of.
Well, that's what you get for not picking up Nick. So
yeah. Somebody grabbed him right before me, literally in our draft.
Yeah, I think he's still listed as an outfielder though, which is a little confusing to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think they're changing that up soon. But
it takes like a couple games you got to play in.
Okay.
Now I'm nerding out about fantasy baseball. People just click the dial on our radio.
I was gonna ask to Adam Walton. I know you kind of struggled a little bit in the beginning of the year, but I don't know if you look at the statistics, but obviously you've been in a huge hitting streak. What kind of has, gotten on to that?
Adam, you didn't kind of struggle. You were over 20. Your first 20.
It was an awful start to the year. I can't remember a start that I've had worse than that, honestly. But, honestly, the only thing that really changed was just trying to stay more relaxed and kind of stay within myself. I still had the confidence that I had going into the season. I knew it was going to turn around eventually. Just working with Coach Snyder every day and doing extra stuff, just trying to stay relaxed in the box and be more aggressive, really just kind of helped me break out of the slump and get hot, thankfully. So it was an awful start to the season. I always imagine first at bat, getting first hit right away. Actually my first at bat, the guy made a diving catch in right field, so I was almost 1 for 1, but then that quickly turned into an 0 for 20.
Yeah.
So,
and of course they're not bringing up you were for 20.
So no, it was tough, but thankfully
we can laugh about it now because you're.
I was definitely not laughing back then, but thankfully I got some more opportunities and been doing well lately. So
17 game hit streak you're on now. And Justin Parr, of course, last year, I remember covering Justin last year as he was on his 33-game hit streak, which was second in the nation and school record he set. And now I'm kind of hoping that you'll be the guy to break his records. Just give him 1 year. Of course, if he goes and has an 0 for game on Tuesday,
it's our fault.
Because of me.
Yeah, that'll be on you.
Yeah, so you can burn me at the altar or whatever it is. All right. Can we get it here first? Are you going to break that 33-game hit streak? Is that
that's the goal? Exactly. Now that I'm on it, that's the goal. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I would much rather get a win and go 0 for 4 and get an RBI ground out or a sac fly and help the team win than get that hitting streak. But it's nice being on it, that's for sure. But
yeah.
If he's got the rapper in his pocket, he'll be.
Oh, well, I'm glad you brought this up there. You have to tell the rappers, because Ryan.
Here we go.
It begins. I looked down on my sheet and I had Nick's name, and I just kind of popped out. Come on now.
Yeah, sure.
I'm bad at names, so I've done this anyway.
Yeah.
Ryan,
Yes.
you're the key to his success. Go ahead and tell the people why you two have a combined 7-game team history.
Well, before the story starts, I think it's good background information to know that Ryan's like, he's always joking around. You know, he's never, unless it's like 20 minutes before his start and he's on the mound, it's never serious with him. So, you know, he's always joking around, trying to find a new way to mess with people and, you know, get into your head and all that. So that's a little background for that story to come up right now.
If you ever watch the games on TV, I'm pretty sure you could probably hear him from the dugout.
Yeah, if you're at Illinois Field ever and you're here yelling, or even when he's doing the pitching charts behind the plate when he's not even in the dugout, you'll hear random yelling, and he'll be yelling in Spanish because he's from Miami and nobody knows what he's. I don't even know if he knows what he's saying. Yeah. But
I'm still here waiting to hear the negatives.
Yeah, right.
You guys are just listening to the positives.
Oh man. So wait, the rapper story. Go ahead and tell the people.
Okay, well, we have these Gatorade Energy Chews, and they come in this little plastic wrapper, and I was out in the outfield. I was passing them out, you know, just helping my team get ready to go, like always. And, you know, when I was out there, so I had the wrapper in my hand, and I didn't want to just drop it in the field, so I put it in my pocket. But I went up to Adam, and I was like, hey, man, just put this in your pocket. And he goes, what is that? No, just, man, it's good luck. Go ahead. And he was like, all right, whatever. I think he just put it in there to get me out of his face. But then, you know, we both kind of forgot it was in there. And then we were down, I think, by 1 run in the 8th inning. And he ends up getting a base hit, steals second, steals third, and then scores on a little dinker in the infield. And I go, Walton, you just, you know, you got a base hit, stole 2 bases, and then tied up the game. And he takes out the wrapper out of his pocket, and he goes, man, look what I got.
It was all about the wrapper, so then it was my good luck charm from then on out, you know.
Isn't that crazy? You spend all this time thinking, like, oh, what should I do? And then, like, that one thing, you're like, oh, it was a rapper.
Yeah, like I was it was all mechanical and all in my head, and then it was just a little wrapper. That's all it took, you know?
You know, I'll take credit for that sequence right there. Friday's game, that was, you're welcome, Coach.
The win, you should have got the W. For that. Oh, God. I want to talk a little bit about the Nike rebrand. Last time we've been on the air, Nike unveiled, obviously, the touch-ups to the Illinois logo and all the new uniforms and stuff. And
I like how you call them touch-ups. That's your nice little subtle jab. Just want bigger changes, Jamal?
Whatever. I'm all about subtle jabs. Anyway, we have the models for the Illinois baseball team. Will and Ryan, you guys got to model the jerseys. First of all, how did that happen? They say, well, we just want the 2 handsome guys on the team to just go do it. And they couldn't find anybody, so they said, I will take you guys.
No, I mean, I know they wanted someone that would really fill out the jersey pretty well. You know, just, am I the frame I'm built
so they
with?
Picked
you know?
Yeah. So they said, well, it's got to be Will.
Well, for the people listening, I know this is pretty much audio, but me and Will are very handsome. So.
Yeah. Easy choice. You know?
Yeah,
up, Cass?
definitely.
I think I should have been chosen.
Yeah, right.
Even Coach Snyder said I should have been chosen.
Okay.
There you go.
Do you guys like the new uniforms?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think they had a really modern look to them, and more importantly, they were light. So, you know, maybe I can get off the mound a little quicker and, you know, probably try to field some bunts sometimes.
Yeah.
That was one of the neater things, though, about the older ones we have right now. Not the vests, the other ones. They're about twice as heavy as the new ones are.
Okay.
So it's pretty neat to put on, and they look similar.
Right.
I mean, they're not that different, like you said. Subtle
That's
changes.
why I said touch-ups.
Yeah, touch-ups, subtle
Yeah.
changes, but they weigh about half is what the other ones weigh.
In general, just from the rest of the athletes, not just on their team, but in general, does everybody seem to like the new redesign?
Yeah, I think they do. You know, I think the biggest thing with the uniforms is that, you know, all sports are uniform now. I think some sports had like a different block lettering, and some had like different streamlines, but now they're all similar and they all have, you know, that same look to them. So I think that was the biggest thing with remodeling the jerseys, is getting them all looking the same.
Yeah, we look like one school now. So.
Yeah.
I guess just going back to the hitting approaches for you guys, Will, it seemed like in the Michigan series for you, opposite field was your best friend, and you kind of been locked in at the plate. So I'm just curious, what kind of your approach has been? Has it been something in particular you've been working on with the coaching staff for you?
One of the things we've been working on is letting the ball travel. You know, seeing it deeper into the zone, allowing yourself to recognize pitches and where the ball's thrown. So, and I think for each hitter, it comes down to whatever triggers in your mind what'll help you do that best. And for me, honestly, I think the first at bat I kind of got jammed on something, and it was kind of a weak line drive grounder to second. And I don't know. After that, I just was able to get myself to relax in the box more and calm myself down, really slow everything down. And allowed me to see it deeper, like our coaches had said, and that's what helped me, and seems to be helped me a little bit now. So I'll keep going with it until it ends.
And also Ryan Roper, he also won Freshman Big Ten Player of the Week. So what have you seen in his development since he first started?
I think he's done a great job this year. It's not easy coming in as a freshman and playing third base. It's not an easy position. I know in high school he played shortstop and second base when Reed was there. So third base is definitely a new position to him, and he struggled a little bit early, but I mean he hasn't been down at all. He hasn't been negative at all. He's just kept working, putting in extra work, and he's still got confidence, and he's done a great job lately. He's really coming into his own, and he's being aggressive, and he's been making great plays in the field and making solid contact at the plate. So I think that's all you can ask for. So congratulations to him winning Big Ten Freshman of the Week.
Yeah, especially coming up with some key hits, driving in some runs this weekend. So
and I just like to just like to thank Ryan for making some of his good plays while I was pitching.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, saving you a little bit.
Now, how does that work? I mean, he's a freshman, so he's someone that, the guys on the team got to bring along, but he's got an older brother. Does some of that duty kind of just, fall to him by default, or are they not really, brothers on the team? Is he just another one of the guys?
We don't really know. They don't say much.
Yeah.
I was going to ask because Reed's a quieter guy, and I was going to ask him the same way.
Ryan, they're both very quiet. Ryan's definitely more outgoing than Reed. Reed he's very relaxed. He's very calm, quiet, does his own thing. But I mean, Ryan's definitely the same way. But I mean, you can get him to open up a little bit more. In the infield, we always talk about our swag, kind of, with the wrist tape or the arm sleeve or something. And we
Or
always
the wrapper in the pocket.
or the eye black or something. We always try to get Reed to wear something, but he'll never do it. And Ryan's all about that. So that's
who's got the most swag on the infield.
I mean, I like to think I do.
I set you up for that, and I was like, he's got to say him. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. Me and Dave Carrion and Fletcher always talk about it. So Ryan's getting in on that now. So
they're trying to fill in Lindauer's shoes from last year.
Lindauer had some nice swag last year.
I don't have any.
You're
if I
like
have
Reed.
tape on, it's for purpose. It's not it's not for anything.
Yeah,
so.
You, Reed, and Goldstein are just.
Yeah, I'm just sitting out there in the outfield, so don't worry about me.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, we thank you for joining us again. Get out to Illinois Field tomorrow. First pitch is at 6 p.m. Support Illinois. It's nice outside. Don't sit in your house or do whatever. Get out there and enjoy some baseball. Softball is at 4 o'clock. You can go to softball at 4, baseball at 6, and then get ready for your night.
Unless you're watching on TV, in which case you would probably enjoy the game.
Yeah, but you should go out to the field. Go out to the field. It's free. Come on.
Come say hi to us.
Exactly. Come say hi to these guys.
And this weekend, too. Big Indiana.
And they'll be here this weekend as well. Yeah, or get to Busch Stadium. Just follow the baseball team around. They're doing some good things right around. So get out to your game. There you go. Guys, thank you for joining us, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We're going to take a commercial break. When we get back, we've got Illini Media's Peter Bailey Wells. He's from Boston, here to talk to us about the marathon and where was he last year and how he spent the day. This is Illini Drive here on WPGU 107.1.
Hey guys, this is Erin Andrews, and you're listening to WPGU 107.1.
I want to thank the guys from Illini Baseball for joining us again. Always fun to have them on. And again, get out to Illinois Field tomorrow to support them. We are joined here now by Peter Bailey Wells, the resident Massachusettsian.
That's not it.
It's not a thing, but Bostonian. I kind of want to
Massachusetts.
Massachusettsite. What do you call it?
There's no N in it.
What do you call it? I'm adding the.
It's sort of difficult if you're not from the city because the rest of the state is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, well.
I mean, I don't know. You can refer to yourself as a Bostonian, I guess, if you're from the area.
Now, Peter says
secret.
that not being from Boston.
Right. I'm from the suburbs.
Yeah.
About 30 minutes out.
Right.
So he's making fun of himself, not just he's not from Boston being like, yo, you suck.
I won't say that. So, Peter, we thank you for joining us here today to talk about this Patriots Day, what it is in Boston, and people actually get school off the whole week.
Yeah.
Is it for that?
Patriots Day is...
It's today.
It's today, right. It's
the Monday.
Celebrated as the third Monday in April. It's originally supposed to be April 15th, which is the day of the shot heard around the world. in the beginning of the American Revolutionary War. And so Patriots Day...
Which, let me get in there. Peter is actually... His hometown is the place where the shot was heard around the world. Peter heard the shot, guys. He was next to the
Well,
guy.
not Peter.
No, okay. Well, he's a little younger than that.
Peter's great-great-great-grandfather, of course.
The great Bailey Wells, the late great Bailey Wells, heard the shot. I think he's the guy who texted somebody say, "Hey, there was a shot here."
He tweeted it out.
He tweeted it.
They actually have a really nice group of reenactors that do stuff every year.
And
I was thinking that was your summer job.
I was
kind of thing. You're one of those guys.
They don't pay very well. That's the only problem.
I was going to ask, what do they do there for that?
But
and you think that was a dumb question? There's no such thing as a dumb. There's
Never.
A dumb question.
They do have a reenactment, and it's pretty fun. It's a lot of tourists. A lot of tourists we get all year. But yeah. Patriots
go back to
Day is the first or is the third, like we said, third Monday in April, and that's the week of spring vacation for all the public schools in Massachusetts, and a lot of businesses have it off as well. I know a lot of people don't work, and so that has sort of come into a nice cohesion with the Boston Marathon, which has now been always held on Patriots Day since I think this sometime in the 60s. It's always been on Patriots Day. So today was the marathon, obviously, and it sounds like everything went off relatively without a hitch.
Yeah. First of all, going back to last year, you were not in Boston or in town when it happened. Go ahead and share your stories of where were you when kind of everything went down last year.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I was about as far away as possible. So that's school vacation week, like we said, and my family went to Hawaii, which is something my grandmother and grandfather have done every year forever, and said, hey, this is the last year you're going to be at home before you go off to college. You know, we'd love to take the four of you, my family of four, to the Hawaiian Islands, and we had a great time. It was an awesome week, but it was kind of interesting because we're sitting in the little house that we had rented, and my dad has his phone and he says, hey, you know, we should turn on the TV. Something happened at the marathon, and we're thinking, oh, you know, like somebody really impressive won, or there was some like wacky person with an outfit, because there's always people running the marathon in like hamburger costumes.
Okay.
You know,
like the Hamburglers running. Is the hamburger? No, the Hamburglar's the burglar. But okay, hamburger costume.
Yeah. So there's always something. You know, we've been several times, and there's always something kooky, and so we figured, okay, well, someone, you know, one of our friends saw somebody and alerted him. But we turned the TV on, and it says, you know, these explosions have happened on Boylston Street, which is basically right downtown, and it was kind of surreal because you see all these things that you're used to seeing in person.
Yeah.
I mean, Boylston Street is downtown Boston, so you walk down it on any normal day, and there's thousands of people doing shopping, going to eat. There's a lot of businesses and stuff, and so that's sort of surreal. I mean, it's not home, but it is home. You know, it wasn't like watching my house, but it was home, and things started, in addition to that, things started flowing and they never really made it out national news. My dad has a good friend who works at the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library, which is in a different part of Boston, 2 or 3 miles away from Boylston Street. And about 15, 20 minutes after the bombs went off on Boylston Street, there was a report leaked, or somebody, you know, brought it up on CNN, like very briefly, and then the Boston stations picked it up. Oh, you know, there's an additional bomb at the library. They got to evacuate the library. And so we're like freaking out. My dad has a friend who's one of the curators of the library, so he's losing his mind about this. And he texts her and says, you know, no, this didn't happen. So there's a little bit of an interesting sort of like, when you're 2,000 miles away, more, I don't know how far away Hawaii is, but you're watching, you know, all you're watching is CNN. It's interesting to get the impression that not everything you hear is spot on, because there wasn't any, you know, someone burned something in the microwave at the library or something, like it was something really low key, and we saw that the rest of the day. CNN messed up a few things, and ABC, you know, like people, there were things misreported, but we were basically glued to the television for 24 hours.
And probably following everything pretty closely because it is home. So if you hear anything, you're like, oh my God, are you looking into this? And then, oh, that was fake. But you hear this, you look, it's fake.
Yeah, well, and being in Hawaii, we had scheduled the next day, and we followed through on this, to go to Pearl Harbor, which was was a really sort of strange experience, because I'd never been to the Pearl Harbor Memorial, which is a really like fascinating, really impressive set of monuments that they got, and so you're there and looking at stuff, and it was really, really interesting. And sort of Tuesday, so the marathon was Monday, and Tuesday, Wednesday were pretty quiet because, or at least in terms of news, just because the suspects were at large. There was basically what amounted to a, statewide manhunt. But, Tuesday, Wednesday were relatively non-eventful. But Thursday, the FBI released the photos of these suspects, and so we start getting get ramped up, and Boston went into lockdown because they, someone had seen them, and long story short, I mean, anyone can look up what actually happened, but they ended up getting. The interesting thing is, we turned the TV back on Thursday. Like, we had just gotten into a habit of turning on the TV when we woke up in the morning because you never know what was gonna. And that's not something necessarily we would have done on vacation because you try to get away from the news.
Right.
But you turn on the news on Thursday morning and it says, hey, we think we've identified these two guys who were students in Cambridge, which is the city basically right across the river from Boston. These guys were from Chechnya. If you're on the lookout for them, or excuse me, if you know them, we're on the lookout for them. Like tell us where you think they might be. And kind of interestingly, I have some friends who go to a private school who was in the same athletic conference as these guys, and one of them who wrestled the younger brother in high school, kind of thing. So it sort of was like like this. They went to a high school that my school played in soccer. Right. In high school, which, not that I was on the team, but these were the kids that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And so then we got to see basically the 24-hour process of them getting captured, or the one suspect getting killed and the other getting captured. And it was definitely a weird thing seeing it again 3,000 miles away.
Yeah. I want to back you up because you told us about you had a social studies teacher at the time too.
Yeah. Well, so the next week, we got back to school. Everyone got back to school, and it was sort of, people were it was that sort of a buzz, but it had all happened the previous week. Nothing else had really happened since Thursday night, Friday morning. So most people were like, wow, this is crazy, but it wasn't, if it had happened during the school week, classes would have been destroyed for, the rest of the week because everyone would have been distracted.
Yeah.
But our social studies teacher walked in on Monday and goes, guys, I just got to tell you, we're not going to have class today. I'm just going to tell you about what happened last week. And I had him the entire year. He was one of my favorite teachers, and he lived in Watertown, which is 15 minutes out, but it's a urban suburb of Boston, if that makes any sense. And he, the long and the short of it is that he is pretty confident that the suspect who was eventually captured ran through his backyard on Thursday afternoon, because he was in the 2-block radius of where this guy was found in a boat, under a boat tarp. Right?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, and so he was describing the experience to us. He has a wife and 2 sons, and he's describing the experience of them being upstairs watching TV and having the SWAT team come knock on their door and pat them down and search their house, and having that be kind of strange.
Yeah.
And he also described how, and this is kind of ironic because it was, seen as such a show of force, that they forgot to check the basement. The Army SWAT team that came in forgot to look in his basement. And so he was describing walking down the basement stairs and thinking, I might get shot in my own house.
Yeah.
Which is sort of, again, that is not experience I had, but hearing that from someone is like, whoa.
It was very surreal. I mean, all this is now.
Yeah. But that was definitely one of the more, for me at least, one of the more personal stories that came out of it. I had a couple friends who were in the grandstand across the street from where the explosions went off. They didn't get hurt, but I mean, that's kind of traumatic. I didn't really know anyone who was injured, but in a way, you sort of, I knew plenty. I mean, I knew people who knew people. I don't think I knew anyone who didn't have at least a second or third degree connection to the stuff that had gone on. So in that way, it was sort of a regional event. Obviously, it was a national event, but definitely a pretty traumatic regional experience for anyone involved.
So what was today like for you? Obviously, the year anniversary, and they've, just the coverage of it leading up to this event, and the Red Sox game this morning. I know you watched. What was the day like for you today?
It was funny because I was talking to a friend yesterday about the Red Sox came back last night and won in pretty dramatic fashion. And I think I sort of jinxed it when I said to him, "Oh, they always seem to win whenever they honor the marathon victims." And then today they ended up losing.
Yeah, the Orioles kind of put on everybody's parade
relatively closely. Yeah, but I mean, it sounds sort of arrogant, but Boston sports teams have been really good for the last 10 years. And maybe it's factual, but they've just been really good for the last 10 years, with a few exceptions. And so I think a lot of people have relied on them to sort of be consistent, to be that rock. And even when the teams were bad, I mean, you could see how I think it was pretty well known how passionate the fans were, even when the teams were bad. In the 80s and the 90s, and of course the Red Sox having an 80 plus year streak of not winning anything. Mm-hmm. It definitely is the kind of thing where, and this isn't specific to Boston, but I think this provides a pretty poignant example. People look to sports to be that thing that they can look at that's consistent. Yep. They don't necessarily have any effect on the team sitting on their couch watching on TV. But they can, but they still have an emotional connection to it and still have, it brings them a sense of normalcy if the team does the way they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way to kind of get away.
Right,
from what real life is.
Exactly.
And just, I'm watching this baseball game for 3 hours, whatever it is.
And I think that's part of why the marathon thing was such a personal, hurt, because, the marathon it's a giant sporting event. Yeah. And so it's not, bad things aren't supposed to happen there. And then here you have this, nationwide terrorist act.
Well, and the other thing about the marathon is there's so much about it that's non-competitive. I mean, you got the guys that run 5-minute miles and kill themselves and are incredible and everything else, but there's also 35,000 people who run it not competitively to raise money for charity or to just prove that they can, or to celebrate someone who's died or who's gotten married or who's given you run it in a hamburger suit, right? It's a very you cheer for genuine strangers kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that's that's sort of well, why would you disrupt? I think a lot of people sort of were almost indignant, you're just being mean. As sort of silly as that sounds, it's kind of you were just being mean.
Yeah,
there was no need for that. I mean, obviously,
right? And that was what caused a lot of what reaction was anger. And
exactly. Outrage, is a good word to describe it, but
Well, Peter, we thank you for joining us here today and sharing those experiences with you, or with us, I should say. Your experiences with us. And again, like we said, we look forward to having you on again in the future.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, but first, everybody that's looking to stay up to date with Ebertfest that's coming up this weekend. Is it the weekend?
Starts Wednesday.
23rd through the 27th.
Wednesday. Okay, so if you're trying to figure out which films I want to go to, what things I want to go see, hey, the Daily Illini has your back. You can check out their Ebert Film Festival guide that comes on stands tomorrow. If you're the kind of person that still picks up a newspaper, check it out. I'm sure it's going to be online. It's at dailyillini.com. You can check that out as well there. Now, you get the 411 on everything with the Film Festival guide. That's on events, interviews, workshops, and festival guides. Pick up that guide. Look for it on the .com. Check it out. Get to Ebertfest. We're going to take a commercial break. This is Illini Drive on WPGU 107.1.
This is Clark Kellogg of CBS Sports, and you are listening to the Illini Drive. Enjoy.
My roommate enjoyed it.
Can't even thank all our guests, Peter and Illinois Baseball, for joining us so far on the show. But we're switching gears a little bit to bring it back to Chicago, and we're coming off the worst weekend in Chicago sports history.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we say
it was tough.
Hey, I like to overreact and and take things out of context. There we go.
Proportion, all of it.
But this was the worst weekend in Chicago sports history, guys. The Cubs and the Sox played, which means they lost games. They're terrible. The Blackhawks, who we put all our faith in, all our hope in, that all year they're going to just turn it in. They're our rock, and they go down 0-2, and Britt Seabrook is out for 3 games. And then the Bulls, our last chance at hope and redemption, they get beat by the freaking Wizards.
And they can't play defense.
And they can't, the one thing they're supposed to have, they give 102
can't play
points.
defense, they can't score offense.
Yeah, so I'm going to say this is the worst weekend in Chicago sports, or maybe 1A. again, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not a great weekend.
When
We
was
like
the
to
Bartman
push-
weekend?
Bite your
Don't
tongue.
go there.
Bite your tongue.
Guess which one Chicago sports team Jamal's a passionate
Yeah, there
fan
you go.
of.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, we should probably blame our good friend Will Leach. He was doing his Leach Across America tour, which he visits a bunch of different cities.
Yeah.
And he was in Chicago this week, and then they happened to have the terrible week.
I forgot about that. Why
just-
did he do that?
Yeah, I thought about it right now. I'm gonna have to email Will or something and say, "Hey, stay out of our town." Okay, yeah, exactly. Get out of here. Let's start really quickly here with the Blackhawks. Obviously, Game 3 is tonight. Game 3 is tonight. They play
St. Louis.
in St. Louis. They're here, back in
In Chicago. That'd be great if they were here.
Exactly.
Playing on the big pond.
Ice Arena. Oh yeah.
If you're listening to us Wednesday on UPTV, you already know.
That they're down
3-0.
3-0.
No, but you're going to get your mic cut real quick. But how concerned are you, Joe? Joey Gilman's got his Blackhawks jersey on. I got my
You got
Blackhawks
Fraser?
shirt on.
I want to see what I got.
I got my
Yeah.
BMO shirt on.
Yeah, and we're going to ignore what Torrance has on as well. Got a Miami Heat shirt.
It's black and
shirt.
yellow, though. I don't think that's Miami Heat because that's not their colors.
Got the highlighted jersey. It's that new stuff.
God.
Oh, gosh.
What? How concerned are you for the Blackhawks?
I'm pretty concerned. I mean, I think last time the Blues took a 2-game lead in playoff series, they blew that one as well. But I'm pretty concerned. I mean, this Hawks team is not nearly as deep as the one that won it last year. I mean, you had guys Dave Bolin, second line center. He could be almost a top line center on another team. And so I think depth wise, they're not as good as they were. But I mean, I think knowing the Hawks and the way they can be resilient, they can probably eke out a win tonight. But this St. Louis Blues team has their number and has made them play a style of play that they haven't played within the last 4 years in the 2 cups that they've won, and making them try to play physical.
And it's funny because that was always the kind of the knock on the Hawks, is that they have not been physical,
Right.
and now the fact that they're playing physical is kind of hurt.
Right. It's
hurt
almost,
them a little
yeah.
bit.
I mean, I
Well, go
agree
ahead.
with that, and I think there's certain times where you need them to be physical, and they haven't, and it's hurt them. But somehow the
been
way they
overlooked.
play games, they're a scrappy team, and when they get physical and when it gets into their head, they lose their composure, and you saw that this last game, obviously with the Seabrook, which we can talk about later. But
I was going to ask you about that now. Seabrook, 3 games for that hit. Your opinion on that? Too many, too little, just right?
I think it's too many. I
Do
mean,
you?
I do, and I have a roommate of mine is a Blues fan. He thinks it's just right or should be more. But I think it's too many because I think the way they're basing it is kind of off injury, and I feel that this suspension shouldn't be based on or even a penalty based on how injured a guy is.
Really?
I feel like it should just be kind of what the penalty was when it happened. And then kind of base it off of there. Because, you remember the last time Hawks were in the playoffs, Rafi Torres.
And I thought he should have been thrown out as long as that, yeah.
Right, but in that sense, he wasn't even called for a penalty on the ice and then gets suspended afterwards. While it was a nasty hit, I kind of think in a way, even though we were on the other end last time, that it kind of should be reflected on what goes on the ice versus the injury later on.
I disagree with you because I think as long as the guy's out, he should be. I'll say this. If that hit had been on Taves or Kane, they'd have said, give me that Blues player on a stake. Give me his head on a stake.
That's true.
That's what everybody here would have been saying. I think 3's enough, and you probably could have went higher. I thought it was a pretty dirty hit. That if it had been, like I said, a Blues player, I would have wanted him gone from the league. So
I thought like that in the beginning, and I kind of have shifted a little bit away from that, just kind of learning.
Yeah.
I got to disagree with you one time, don't
that's
I?
fine. Yeah, I am concerned about the Blackhawks. Just because I do think they're going to win tonight. I think or Monday night here. I think they have to, obviously. Can't go down 3-0. And they've shown they can be resilient and shown they can come back. And it's not like they've gotten blown away in these 2 games. It's been overtime losses. So it could easily be up 2-0. It probably should be up 2-0. So, again, level of concern for them is high because I've been concerned for about a month just about them. So, switching gears with that then goes to the Bulls, who lose that first game against the Wizards, who... I mean, for those of us in Chicago who don't tune in the playoffs tune into basketball until the playoffs, a la me, I see the Wizards and I say that's a bad team. The Bulls should win this in 4 games or 5 games.
The Wizards, they
Yeah, well,
I think we saw what they can really do.
Yeah.
They have a young core, and the Bulls actually held what people thought of their strong suit, John Wall and Bradley Beal, the backcourt, to I think it was like 7 of 25 shooting.
Yeah,
or
they were
something like that.
struggling.
Yeah, but what happened was Nene former Denver Nuggets center, just went off and had the game of his life.
Exactly.
Taking it to Joakim Noah on the eve of him winning the Defensive Player of the Year award.
Exactly. Insane that the Bulls were the team that nobody really wants to play the Bulls. They're trying to tank or not get them, and then the Wizards just go out there and just beat them in game one. How concerned should Bulls fans be, or are you guys?
I wouldn't be that concerned because when you're a Bulls fan, you don't think of series as being like 4-game affairs. So losing one isn't a big deal for you. And this team has playoff experience and great coaching, which can elevate it beyond worrying about where home court is. I think, especially Washington, not the best of fan bases. I'm sure they'll be amped that they're in the playoffs, but
they haven't been here in a while, so I could see them turning out.
But I don't think it'll intimidate Chicago at all.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Just Bulls have so much experience, and I mean, you can't doubt a guy like a Coach Tibbs. I mean, he's been through it already. He's been through when he used to be an assistant coach for Boston. I mean, he kind of knows the runaround already. So, I mean, it's only game one. I mean, it's different to compare this to the Blackhawks one, because obviously the Blackhawks going back at home, but the Bulls lost at home, so that's kind of already a little bit shifty. But I feel like a series don't really cook up to at least the third game to really start panicking. I mean, it's only the first game, so
yeah. And I think Randy Whitman did a great job sort of setting up his scheme in game one, head coach of the Wizards. But Tom Thibodeau's going to adjust.
Yeah.
So definitely. We'll see. I think it should turn in favor of the Bulls.
Quickly here, you still got the Bulls winning.
Oh, I got them winning in 5.
In 5. Ooh. The Bulls in 5.
That was before game one. I predicted 5. I'm holding by it.
You're gonna stick with that.
Less confident.
You still have the Hawks winning their series.
I don't know if I ever had the Hawks winning their series. I maybe. I'm a push. I think they're all right.
Bulls starting to win their series.
4-2.
4-2, and you still have Bulls and Hawks winning their series.
I think I have the Bulls winning their series. It's going to be a tough test because I think Thibodeau kind of got outcoached a little bit yesterday, which you don't usually see.
Yeah.
So they can make adjustments. I think they have the series. The Hawks, as much as I'd like to see them win, I'm nervous being already in 2-0 hole and one of your top defensemen out the next 3 games. That's big shoes to fill, and I don't know if Sheldon Brookbank can do that or not tonight. But so I'm a little wishy-washy on the Hawks' chances here.
I would be less worried about the 0-2 hole if it wasn't the way they lost. Triple overtime,
right.
And then giving up a goal with 6.7 seconds left in game 2,
right,
to take it to overtime and where they eventually lost. That hurts. That I don't know.
Right, you played your utmost best in triple overtime and still can't get a victory. I feel like that hurts a lot.
Yeah.
It could have easily been an even series or at least 2-0.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to shift quickly to Badass of the Week here. No intro here, but you want to start us off?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll kick it off. Badass. Keep it with the NBA. LaMarcus Aldridge had just a complete beast game overtime against the Houston Rockets. He had 46 points and 18 rebounds. Man, it was a real good game. I watched a little bit towards the end. I didn't see the beginning, but that's going to be a good series. I mean, Houston played real well. I think Dwight had 27 and 15, but he got fouled out. So that's going to be a series that's probably going to go 7.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one. I had the Rockets winning in 4 for that series. So, whoops.
Portland had a real good season, though.
Yeah, I mean, they did, but they're also unexperienced in the playoffs and they don't play defense. So, but yeah, so I guess I might have to adjust my prediction. No, I do have to adjust my prediction on that. But yeah, my badass of the week, sticking with the NBA in yesterday's games, TNT sideline reporter and wacky suit extraordinaire Craig Sager.
Let's go.
Won't be reporting on the playoffs due to he's now battling leukemia. And so what TNT did is they got Craig Sager Jr., his son, who is also in journalism, to do the sideline interview with San Antonio Spurs coach Greg Popovich. If you haven't seen the video, it's on the internet everywhere. But basically, Popovich, who is just notorious for giving like 7-word interviews.
Yeah. 7-word interviews, not answers to a question, like interviews.
Yeah. What was the key for the game? No words. But yeah, so he had a really heartfelt message for Craig Sager, and usually he's seen as a grump, and he'll give sideline reporters the runaround and not give them the answers they're obviously fishing for. But he gave a real touching message, and it was really cool to see.
Well, I was actually going to go with that one. We didn't consult before, so you win this round.
Give him a +1.
Yeah, so I mean, I was going to go with that as well. It was a really nice moment. I guess the only thing I can do is on a funny note that there was the the presidential race in the Nationals Park for the DC, and a guy dressed up as an Easter egg bunny jumped out of the stands and tackled all the presidents, and they all fell down like dominoes. It was really funny. So I guess I got to go with him. But I really like the Popovich move. I thought that was really good on his part and TNT.
I'm going to give my new Illinois alumnus now, Tatiana McFadden. She's a wheelchair athlete who just won the Boston Marathon earlier today. I can't tell off the top of my head, but she just wins every marathon. She's probably gotten more badass than dirt rows at this point because she just goes out and dominates every marathon.
She doesn't score 13 points in a game. She wins marathons.
Yeah, she wins
so
the
that's a little more impressive.
Legitimate. Yeah. So thanks to all our guests for coming on today and sharing the things from the baseball team and Peter. Thank you for listening to us here again. You can follow us on social media, the Twitter at Illini Drive. And we will be back here for another awesome hour. The cure, all the boredom and the mediocrity in your life of Illini and all the sports talk every day at 6, or every Monday at 6 p.m. I'll be back on my game and stuff. And thanks to the people at UPTV. We're now going back to Champagne's alternative. That is WPGU 1071.